So picture this. You're cruising peacefully at, say, 30,000 feet. The seatbelt sign is off, people are reading, resting. Maybe you're just looking out the window at the clouds. It's perfectly quiet. And then, bam! Suddenly, a passenger just a few rows away violently jumps out of their seat. They're screaming, they sprint straight down the aisle toward the emergency exit, and they just start violently pulling on the door handle. I mean, it's a terrifying scenario, right? It's literally the stuff of absolute nightmares. And sadly, it's a scenario that's actually happening in our skies right now. So in today's Explainer, we're going to break down the science, the physics, and the incredibly severe penalties surrounding mid-flight door breaches. Now, this raises a universal question, one that flashes through the mind of literally every single person on board when something like this kicks off. If that passenger somehow succeeds, what happens? Does the door tear off? Does all the air instantly rush out? Does everyone just get sucked out into the frozen sky? It's an incredibly tense, terrifying thought, and honestly, it preys on our deepest fears of flying. We've all seen the Hollywood movies, where a tiny crack in a plane window leads to complete catastrophe. But today, we're looking at the hard facts derived directly from recent aviation data. Because, look, this isn't just some hypothetical fear. Just recently, an incident on a U.S. regional jet headed to Houston kind of shook the entire world. A passenger suddenly became extremely belligerent mid-flight, and the situation escalated so rapidly that the pilot, in an absolute panic, radioed air traffic control with this chilling message: "We have an unruly passenger trying to open the cabin door. Others are trying to restrain him." I mean, just imagine the sheer panic in that cabin as fellow travelers had to physically fight a man at 30,000 feet. The threat was deemed so severe, so immediate, that the flight crew was forced to execute a rapid emergency landing in Indianapolis just to get the plane safely on the ground. Okay, let's all take a deep breath here. We've looked at the terrifying scenario, but let's shift gears for a second and look at the actual physics. Because here is the absolute most crucial science fact you need to know. Opening a main cabin door mid-flight is entirely physically impossible. Zero chance. So you can let out a huge sigh of relief. As terrifying as it is to watch someone try, the engineering of modern commercial aircraft absolutely prevents that horrifying Hollywood outcome from actually happening. Let's explore exactly why that is, because frankly, the science keeping you safe is absolutely brilliant. It really all boils down to one core scientific principle, and that is cabin pressurization. See, when an airplane cruises at a high altitude, the air outside is incredibly thin. Humans simply cannot breathe out there. So, to keep everyone alive and comfortable, the aircraft systems pump heavy, highly compressed air right into the cabin. They're essentially creating a thick artificial atmosphere inside the plane so that you and I can breathe normally, exactly like we would down on the ground. Think about the massive invisible forces at play here. On one side of the metal tube, the outside, you've got thin, unbreathable air with super low pressure. On the inside, you have heavy, compressed air pressure pushing outward in literally every direction. And this massive difference in pressure between the inside and the outside environment, well, it acts as a natural, unbreakable locking mechanism. The airplane doesn't just rely on a mechanical lock, It uses the very air you are breathing to secure the aircraft. To understand how this works mechanically, we kind of need to look at airplane door engineering for a second. Aircraft doors utilize what's called a plug design. They aren't like the front door of your house that just swings outward on simple hinges. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a giant puzzle piece. The airplane door is slightly larger than the hole it fits into, so to close it, it has to be pulled inward first, maneuvered around, and then fitted into place. Once the plane reaches altitude, that heavy inside cabin pressure pushes outward against the door. It literally wedges the door into its frame, applying tons, and I mean literally thousands of pounds, of force to seal it shut. Which brings us to a fantastic analogy from our source material to really put this into perspective. Because of those tons of pressurization force wedging that plug door shut, it would require superhuman strength to pull it open. Honestly, forget the strongest bodybuilder on Earth. You would need more physical strength than the Incredible Hulk to pull that door inward against the cabin pressure. Absolutely no human being possesses the sheer physical force required to overcome it. So, scientifically speaking, that door is staying closed. But, and this is a big but, while the physical door opening is a total myth, the danger of these incidents is incredibly real. Just this year alone, the Federal Aviation Administration has received over 830 unruly passenger reports. 830. That is a staggering number. It proves this isn't just some rare, isolated incident. It's a systemic and highly dangerous behavioral trend sweeping across commercial aviation right now. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we saw another terrifying example of this trend on a Frontier Airlines flight. In this incident, a passenger didn't just cause a minor disturbance. They actively attacked the flight crew and physically rushed the cockpit. And once again, it fell to the passengers themselves to intervene. Fellow travelers actually had to tackle the man and physically tie him down just to stop the threat. So yeah, the door might not open, but as these events clearly prove, an unhinged passenger creates an unbelievably dangerous environment for everyone else on board. So let's break down why this is so catastrophic. The real danger here isn't some explosive decompression. It's the total cascade of chaos that follows. When a passenger attacks the crew or rushes an exit, it causes severe pilot distraction at critical moments of flight. It forces emergency diversions, throwing entire air traffic networks into disarray. We're talking millions of dollars in wasted fuel costs and operational losses. But most importantly, by pulling the crew's attention away from safely flying the aircraft, these individuals put hundreds of innocent lives at immense, unnecessary risk. Because the stakes are so incredibly high, aviation authorities do not play around. The penalty for this behavior? A massive $43,000 civil fine that awaits any passenger who interferes with a flight crew. Let that sink in. 43 grand. That is absolute financial ruin for most people. Authorities have established these incredibly severe financial penalties to basically make a giant example out of anyone who even thinks about causing chaos at 30,000 feet. And the crazy part? That financial ruin is just the beginning. The ultimate price cascades rapidly from there. Interfering with flight crew duties is classified as a severe federal crime. If you're convicted, not only do you pay that massive fine, but you are instantly placed on a lifetime no-fly list. That means you are permanently banned from ever stepping onto a commercial aircraft again for the rest of your life. And on top of all of that, you face years locked away in federal prison. Seriously, one panicked, rational moment mid-flight will permanently ruin your entire life. The primary takeaway for all of us here is that flight safety is a collective responsibility. The flight crew's fundamental duty is ensuring your safety, and it is just so vital that we all cooperate, remain calm, and always follow crew instructions. When we actually understand the science keeping us safe, like knowing that door isn't going to budge, we can react to these tense situations with calm logic instead of blind panic. Which brings us to our final thought. We've seen the impossible physics, we've gone over the terrifying real-world examples, and we've walked through the extreme penalties of a federal crime, tens of thousands in fines, and a lifetime flight ban. Yet, with over 830 incidents reported just this year, well, it really begs the question, are these severe penalties actually enough, or do we need even stricter laws to deter this dangerous trend of unruly passengers once and for all? Think about that next time you buckle up for a flight.